Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of 17-year-old Brianna Maitland who went missing on March 19th of 2004 after she left the Black Tavern Inn where she worked at about 11:20 p.m. Now, from all accounts, she appeared to have left alone in her car, which was a 1985 Oldsmobile sedan, which was registered on her mother's name. Now, prior to even going to work, she had actually been taking her exam to receive her GEDs, after which she went out to lunch with her mother Kelly to celebrate the occasion, and during the lunch she spoke about going to college. After that, they went shopping and they ran some errands, and while waiting in a checkout line at a store, her mother said that something outside caught Maitland's attention, and she told her mother she would return shortly, and then she left the store. Her mother completed her purchase and then met up with Briana in the parking lot and noticed that Briana seemed unnerved, shaken, and agitated. Those are her words. Briana told her mother that she needed to go home, prepare for her upcoming work shift at the Black Tavern Inn in Montgomery. And her mother didn't really want a prize, so she just drove her home, where she lived with a childhood friend, Julian Stout, and they arrived there between 3:30 and 4 p.m. And that was the last time her mother actually saw her. Now, before she left for her work, she left a note for Julianne saying that she would return home after work that evening. And then after completing her shift at work, she clocked out and told her coworkers she needed to get home and rest before working the next day at her second job in St. Albans. So several times that day she said she needed to go home and that she would be coming home, but she never did. Early the next afternoon, on March 20th, a Vermont State Police trooper was dispatched to an abandoned house on Route 118 in Richford, about a mile from the Black Lantern Inn. Maitland's Oldsmobile had been found backed into the side of the house, known locally as the Old Dutchburn House. The siding of the home had been breached by the rear of the sedan. A piece of plywood that had been covering a window lay on the car's trunk. 2 of her paychecks were found on the front seat of the car and outside. They saw loose change, a water bottle, and an unsmoked cigarette. They assumed that the car had been abandoned by a drunk driver, and a towing company took the vehicle to a local garage. And Briana was not reported missing for a number of days. Jillian saw Briana's note on Friday, spent the weekend away, and found the note undisturbed when she returned on Monday. And she assumed that Briana was staying somewhere else, and so she did not call Kelly, her mother, until the following day. Then on Tuesday, March 23rd, her mother started calling various people in order to find Briana, including friends as well as her employers, and none of whom had seen or spoken to her. That's when she filed a missing person report. And on Thursday, Briana's parents gave photos of her to the Vermont State Police in St. Albans, and a trooper showed them a picture of the Oldsmobile found at the Old Dutchburn House, which they immediately identified as her car. Her mother said in interviews that she was instinctively revulsed by the photo and believed someone else, not Briana, had left the car in such a way. Now, once the car had been returned to the Maitland family, her father Bruce noted that his daughter's ATM card, her glasses, contact lens case, and migraine medication had all been left inside the car as well, so that is on top of her paycheck and loose change. In a week following her disappearance, the Vermont State Police received an anonymous tip claiming that she was being held against her will in a house in nearby Berkshire, 10 miles from Montgomery. The rented house, then occupied by Raymond L. Ryans and Nathaniel Charles Jackson, 2 known drug dealers from New York, was raided by police on April 15, 2004. Various drug paraphernalia was discovered inside, as well as substantial amounts of certain white powder and certain green plant material, to keep it YouTube friendly. But no sign of Briana was found. Ryans was arrested during the raid on drug charges. Upon interviewing Maitland's close friends, law enforcement was informed that Maitland had allegedly experimented with hard drugs in the recent past and was an acquaintance of Ryans and Jackson. In late 2004, police received a statement from an anonymous older female, in quotations, who implicated both Ryans and Jackson in Maitland's disappearance and alleged murder. The signed affidavit contained allegations written in graphic detail that Maitland had been murdered approximately a week after her disappearance. The woman who provided the affidavit claimed that Ryans murdered Maitland during an argument over money she had lent him to purchase her substances, and that her body had been temporarily stored in the basement of a recently incarcerated local woman's home. Maitland's body was then allegedly dismembered with a table saw and disposed of on a pig farm. law enforcement was unable to corroborate the claims in the letter. The Maitland family themselves additionally reported that they had received several uncorroborated anonymous phone calls from persons claiming Briana was tied to a tree in the woods and that she had been disposed of at the bottom of a lake. Now, there have been several bits of footage and possible sightings, but none of them actually have led to her discovery. There have been some connections made to potential criminals who were active in a similar area, but none of them has actually been held responsible. A DNA test from DNA that had been recovered from her car has been done, and they found it to match one of 11 people whom they had previously tested in connection to her disappearance. And according to police, the person has been very cooperative and spoken to us. So I'm guessing that means that they are not quite related, or at least not related to the crime, or at the very least not enough related to the crime for them to really consider them a suspect. The case has not been solved. She has not yet been found. And that is why we're going to take a look at this case using the tarot. And we're going to start off with the tarot mucha, which is already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Urban Tarot, which is this one. And as per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we're starting off in the top left with the Ten of Swords and the Page of Swords, which is interesting. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Alright, so Ten of Swords, Darks Before the Dawn, followed by the Page of Swords. I feel like this may be a worry because words were spoken too harshly, and then there is a loss of some type of personal gain over here with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So maybe there was a well, there's a lot of concern here because of things that were said. Possibly this could be the aftermath of the confrontation with the person that she saw from the store. So she was definitely foreseeing quite a lot of darkness. Now normally the Page of Swords is usually a bit more gung-ho on their picture, but this one seems very pensive. So I feel like she's also kind of like in her head very much, and maybe thinking about what was said, maybe thinking about the future, particularly because they're staring off into the distance. So that may be what she was doing at that time. Then we see the Queen of Wands. Alright, so that is an actionable card, followed by the Five of Cups in reverse and the Ten of Wands. Okay, so we are carrying a burden here, and I'm not entirely sure what this Five of Cups in the background is about. Queen of Wands is very willful. I've said that many times. If she wants something, she will do it, she will achieve it. I think we are still talking about Briana here, and they are carrying this burden, but it is a burden that they probably foresee being able to carry it to its fruition at some point. Like, it's one of those burdens that is about to be dropped because it's like near its end. Normally you would see somebody walking towards town with this stack of 10 wands basically, but we have here the Five of Cups, which is normally like not wanting to let go the loss that you've just experienced, not being able to process a certain loss. and I feel like this may be something that she is also unable to process, and it's really weighing heavily on her, and it really drives her actions, I believe, because I'm just looking back and forth between the two Wands cards that are flanking it right now, and the Wands are very much about fire and action, energy, that type of thing. So maybe these thoughts, these forlorn feelings are really steering her actions in this moment. Then on the second row we have a Nine of Wands. There we go. So the burden is not quite complete yet. Maybe it is an old burden that's now coming back, and that's why she wasn't able to let go something over here. But we have the Nine of Wands over here upright. Then we have the Hierophant in reverse, so we're not really contacting anybody who would have that role, or it could be that this is her having a bad experience with somebody whom is in that type of position. We have a Queen here though, Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so now we're trying to be very practical, so there may be some awareness of corruption of certain people, and she's trying her best to work around that, to be practical. And this may be a new burden that actually she's carrying rather than the old one. So maybe up here there is a bit of a, oh my god, I've been dealing with this so many times and it's just something that keeps coming back, and yep, here we go again, another thing to add to the list. So she's trying to be very practical about that with her Queen of Pentacles over here. She's trying to maybe pussyfoot around somebody whom is known to be some type of authority, maybe an unconventional authority possibly. We see also a King of Swords here. Somebody is either being diplomatic or trying to speak the right words anyway, because he's upright, and that's usually somebody trying to speak the right word, or at least somebody who is smart, very intelligent, usually also kind of cold with their decision making. They are somebody who's really in that energy. And then we have the Pentacle in reverse, Pentacle Ace actually, and the Three of Cups upright. Okay, so we are possibly trying to party with somebody while we know that it is not a good idea. So that diplomacy that I just thought was happening here with the King of Swords may be also related to that Three of Cups on the end there. And so they are knowingly, willingly, potentially partying with people to appease them somehow, even though they know that this is not going to end well for them, or they are taking some type of loss up front by doing them. And this almost seems like a peace offering, like yeah, I know it's not really good for me, but I need to keep them happy, need to smooth things over possibly, therefore we're just going to go ahead and do this thing and just kind of enjoy the party, or try to at the very least. Then we have these two that came in at the end. We have here Justice upright and the Queen of Swords in reverse. Okay, so Justice upright is normally trying to have things done right, but the Queen in reverse, Queen of Swords, may speak words that are not quite true or potentially manipulative. So maybe they're trying to get their justice, but possibly not through the right means. Maybe twisting facts a little, maybe twisting their words a little, potentially to try and get some type of thing out there for themselves. And who knows, that may have been picked up on and fell on deaf ears. Who knows? Let's grab the errands to see what happens next. I feel like this is some type of confrontation that's happening here. So this may be the confrontation with the people that ended up making her disappear. That one. We have here the Fool. Okay, so maybe she thought a little too highly of her skills of manipulating the situation, and she may be also relying on the universe to maybe help her out in some way, just being as open as possible for any possibilities, possibly also thinking that she could deal with whatever comes her way. Like that type of faith that the right thing will happen for the right person at the right time. As long as you believe, I suppose. Oops, that one. I gotta grab it like this. Alright, so one card, yes it is. Three of Wands. Okay, so the Three of Wands is here to put out a fire, Three of Wands is also trying to go places, usually places that you plan to visit, the act of traveling there, I suppose, or preparing to travel there. Also a Three of Wands thing, but in this case there's a very heavy presence of trying to do something risky in this card. Like the person in the background, you can barely see them. They're sitting over there and they are climbing the ladder up to what I imagine is a burning building to try and get the flames lowered. I don't actually see a building in the background. Maybe they're fighting a forest fire or something, but in any case something heroic is happening here, and it may also feel like she was really doing a very big deed in the moment as well. She may have been trying to douse fires that had started in people's minds rather than actual physical fires. Like maybe the activity over here really ended up falling on deaf ears and potentially also upsetting some people, and she just kind of like initially tried to laugh it off maybe, or just trying to go with the flow, trust the process, that type of thing, and then possibly trying to smooth things over again, but more urgently this time, like some type of crisis manager, something like that. But of course the main thing that she's trying to save is herself, but you know, although we don't know that. Maybe there were other people involved whom she was also sticking up for. But let's see what else we can get. Oh, that's a rather large stack. I don't feel like we need all of these, so we're going to see which ones of these we actually need. This one, I guess. Oh, alright. These cards can be a little difficult to shuffle, particularly when there's only a few. The Tower in reverse. We're unable to let something go over here, and it is a very emotional card, this one, so there's a lot of emotions happening here next to this very fiery card. It seems like the people that she's trying to calm down were not going to calm down anytime soon, because the Tower in reverse just also shows that things are not toppling necessarily. The change that is usually caused by a tower in this case is being held back or diverted to something else. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles again. Once again, we are trying to be very practical like we did earlier as well over here. We're trying to switch back to that. So once again, crisis management followed by Eight of Wands, which is possibly trying to do things real fast that might be helpful. Again, more actions, maybe just offering to do things for them in order to calm them down, calm their nerves. And this could be anything. Over here, this person is delivering pizzas, so maybe she offered to go get something that the others might like in order to smooth things over that way. Who knows? But in any case, she's trying to be very diplomatic. And also this matriarch card here is showing somebody who is basically hosting a dinner party. So maybe that also relates to the Eight of Wands over there, where I was just noticing that it is somebody delivering pizza. So possibly she tried to smooth things over with some food and some drink and something that would normally make people happy to consume. Maybe just suggesting that they order out or something. Oh. Then the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. I think that her calm and collected manner in that moment was wasted, because this Eight of Pentacles normally somebody who's really focused on their craft. It's in reverse though, so I think the effect that she was hoping for has not been met in this case. And again, it's another 8 card, so I feel like this is the result of the first 8. Like in the Eight of Wands energy, she tried to quickly do things in order to focus on fixing whatever's going on over there, the whole situation. And then we see the next 8 is the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, so all that focus, all that effort, maybe on the wrong thing, or it just failed entirely and it wasn't quite what she had in mind. Whoop, that one. Okay, 10 of Pentacles in reverse, so more pentacles, and this one is a 10, so whatever value she may have had, whatever resources she may have had to offer, she has them no more. So this is really possibly maybe like a mugging or something, or just taking everything from her in some way. Doesn't have to be physical. It could also just be your right to move around. Could be that they're being detained, like that type of thing. Can also be a 10 of Pentacles thing. It's like a resource thing, like your time, your money, and your skills, being able to do things is what's under the Pentacles. But in any case, something is being taken from her, and it is as a result of her attempts at patching things over. So those were not accepted or welcomed. Okay. Two of them. This one dropped first. We have here the Empress. All right, so now we're trying to be even more caring than the Matriarch over here. Matriarch was still like the Matriarch. The Queen of Pentacles is very practical, willing to make concessions, and I think that's what also is kind of being reflected here. Like, she's trying to smooth things over, like I said, and also in that is making concessions, trying to please people, but they do still have this energy of I am a queen and I will not tolerate certain things. But now we have the Empress over here, and the Empress is a very caring person, but also I feel like their energy is much softer. So this may be her rolling over to whatever whims they may have had at that point, to try and patch things over that way. Like, okay, fine, I'll take care of you, and you just let mommy do her thing, like that type of thing. Oops, sorry, dropped that one. Card as well is called defeat, so not a strange thing to do then, I guess. This is the Five of Swords, so we are arguing here. We've taken a gamble by looks at these cards and we've lost. So this is like playing poker and your hand just wasn't good enough and you lost your bets, basically. So I think this is also reflecting that whatever she's tried beforehand, it's all fallen through now. She can't call upon that anymore. So whatever it is that she had on the table, proverbially, has now been swept away, and I'm guessing all that power and control that she may have had now lays in somebody else's hands. Oop. And this bunch is in my lap. Let's see, we have, oops. Alright, I wanted to turn it upside down, but it wanted to go on its side. Okay, so there is some hiding happening here with the moon on its side. This may be a gradual process, or maybe something that has been kind of undone by now. And again, we are looking at a person in a sewer over here, like a very dark and dank place, also hidden from the world, and maybe only visible at night because the moon is shining its light on there. So I kind of feel like this is her being sequestered somewhere, and potentially not in a good state. Don't know, of course, we haven't seen the rest of these yet, but it is like initially it was going to be turned like this and then it went like that. So it kind of feels to me like initially she was, I guess, quote unquote, well hidden, and then that kind of like became more obvious. Whatever it is that they may have done to her, it should be easier to detect, but still the moon keeps secrets. So I'm guessing, at least what I'm getting is that as long as people aren't talking, it won't be obvious enough for other people to notice. Like that type of vibes what I'm getting here. So I feel like at this point, she's already been hidden away, I guess you would say. And then we have the Nine of Cups. All right, so there's happiness here. That's a very odd thing to put in here. But it almost seems like I'm not really getting a happy vibe here though. Like normally Nine of Cups is like a complete happiness, and maybe something that is experienced in a fleeting moment potentially, because of course it is like being perfectly happy with yourself as well. This may also be gloating on behalf of whomever has done this to her, and maybe they're like happy that things are done, that they won't have to worry about that anymore. Like one of the suggestions that was made by somebody was that perhaps she had been fed to pigs or something, so there may have been that initial, oh my god, what if people see this? And then once the pigs had consumed the parts, they were like, oh phew, you know, we're okay now, like that type of thing. Of course, it doesn't say anything about pigs in the tarot, so we can't really confirm or deny that, but it would be that type of situation. I feel like they were initially very worried and potentially expecting their hiding place to be discovered, and that worry gradually turned into more happiness. But then we have the Ace of Wands in reverse, so we're doing things that are not good, definitely not well thought through, and potentially also in the heat of the moment, because there is once again a lot of fire on this card. So maybe they're just out there doing their thing. This may be something that they tend to do a lot. Like, these may be people whom after her disappearance were suddenly very happy and just kind of hedonistic and doing whatever it is that came to mind. And then we have the Two of Pentacles, and this one is called change. And so now we are kind of balancing things out. So maybe they have been doing things badly for some time, and then after a while they're like, okay, now we need to lay chill. We need to make sure to measure all of our responses in order to potentially avoid any type of suspicion. So I feel like this is the end of Brianna's road, but now let's see if we can get any cards about whether we're ever going to find out anything about the perpetrators, if we're going to find Brianna at all. So let's see about that. Are we ever going to learn more about this case and her whereabouts? One of the cards fell off screen, and it is the Moon in reverse, so that's already a great start. Not really. So the Moon in reverse, we already had the Moon over here, so it's gone back to being in reverse, which was its initial position before it turned itself on its side. So this may mean that there's now even less chance of finding anything out, because whatever time has done, it has certainly hidden information on this case, and the person over there on the card almost seems to be kind of happy about it, seems to be kind of chuckling to themselves like they know something that you don't, which is usually the case with the Moon. Okay, these are two cards. We got here Ace of Swords in reverse, and then the Eight of Wands in reverse. Okay, so this brings to mind saying or doing something that was not well thought out, and then possibly quickly trying to patch things up over here with the Eight of Wands in reverse, which is a very actionable card. Also, Eight of Wands can be communications, and the Swords suit is all about thinking and speaking. So maybe they've said something, or they will say something that they later figure they shouldn't have said, and then we're coming in with a lot of actions to try and patch things up, like somebody who is a known liar saying something and then going, oh wait, maybe that doesn't work because now this and that story doesn't make any more sense, and then you'll hear them coming up with all sorts of roundabout stories and excuses to try and patch everything up again, make it more watertight. So I feel like that is what was being said here. This one over here is Death in reverse. Okay, so we're not able to let something go. We're also not able to open a new chapter, so they are probably stuck in that same mindset as they had right after it happened in 2004. So they've carried this with them for 20 years, and they're also not letting it go. So possibly this is something that is brought to mind every day somehow. Oh, and there goes another card. It is the World in reverse. Okay, so we're still hidden from the world, and possibly we will be for some time. So not only are they able to not let go, also it is just very well hidden, their secret. At least they may have hidden themselves from the world as well. Maybe that's also a thing, like they're trying to avoid the public eye altogether, maybe because they feel like possibly everybody is going to find out if they don't, because it's constantly on their mind, unable to let that go. Then we have the Page of Cups. Alright, so there is a surprise here. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe somebody, he does look a little upset over here, so maybe some type of negative surprise is occurring, something they were definitely not expecting. And even though they've been trying to hide from the world, this will find them anyway. That one. Alright, so once they've had that surprise, we get travel plans. So even though they were already kind of sequestered from the world, they might be looking for even further destinations to go to, at least hoping to find some place. They're planning something, so they may be Googling fastest way to get from this to that place, or places with, I don't know, cabins in the woods or something. They may be preparing to leave, just looking at their options. Then we have the 10, let's see, this is the wheel, actually not the 10. This is the wheel, so the wheel is in reverse, so maybe they're unable to travel. The changes that they were hoping for are not coming to fruition, or it's changing for the worse. So even though they're trying to go places, it's not really helping them out in any way, because I guess it's just against them, the wheel change in that moment. And then we have the lovers in reverse. Okay, so this may be the reason why things are going against them this time, because whomever they may have been connected to in the past, they may now be canceling that connection. Maybe somebody who knew about them and may have also had something to do with it as well, because otherwise why wouldn't they have spoken up about it by now? But they may no longer be on their side. And then we have the tower in reverse, so we're not able to let something go either, which is similar to what we had earlier. That same reaction is coming back up. So maybe this is somebody whose emotions flare up whenever something happens that's kind of against what they had initially planned. Like whenever something is just not quite what they were expecting, there's almost like an explosive reaction, or a battening down the hatches, or something very passionate about their reaction. And then we have 3 cards. Let's see, this one and this one. Alright, so we're trying to once again do the 2 of Pentacles thing, where we're trying to balance our emotions, etc. I'm not sure if that's going to work this time, though. We have here the Page of Wands in reverse. Okay, so while they're trying to balance things out, they are now also reacting fairly quickly, and probably not for the better, for their own perspective, that is, because the Page of Wands can act very quickly, very foolishly. And then we have the 4 of Cups in reverse, so really not having much options, or not feeling any of the options are good for them. So I'm guessing they're kind of stuck in that sense. I feel like they're just going to be stuck. I bumped the camera, sorry about that. They're just going to be in a certain mindset where they're just kind of stuck. They're also physically stuck, I'm guessing, with this 2 of Wands over here, trying to figure out where to go, and then the wheel saying, nope, not happening. Like over here, it may very well be that this person stops being on their side because you're trying to run, like that type of thing. Like, oh, you're gonna run away from me? You're just gonna leave me here with all this stuff? Okay, well, guess what I'm gonna do? Like that type of thing. And then we get that reaction that really makes things much worse. And then there's a motion here to calm things down, try to balance things out. But the water in the background is very rough. Like the sea is very rough over there. So the emotions that are behind the balancing of the resources are not settled at all. And then we have this incareful action, and then we're like, oh, well, I don't really have any other options now. This almost feels like they're arguing with a person, and their reaction to this other person brings forth a similar result as they had with Briana. Like maybe this person, whenever they're challenged, they act out violently, and then they end up quote unquote accidentally hurting somebody, and this is now happening to another person like that. And now they're in this mindset of, oh well, I'm guessing my chickens have come home to roost right now because I can't really go anywhere from this point. Like, that is the type of energy that I'm getting from these cards. But let's get a few final cards in. Like, are we actually going to figure anything out? Like, what's going to happen? Once again, we have a Prince of Wands, which is a Knight of Wands. So maybe somebody is trying to take action on this case. It is, I feel like the 20-year anniversary is coming up. So I'm guessing somebody is going to try to bring this case more to light now. And we are once again with the journalist. Like I said, this person may be trying to take action in order to get, I guess, all the old books opened up, all the old archives again. And we have a Two of Cups, so maybe they have a bit of a relationship with someone, potentially with whomever that was. They may have a story to tell, but it's going to be a bit tricky because of the way that it's landing. Both of them are kind of like that. So the actions that are taken are not necessarily above board, and the connections that are made are maybe not above board or not quite truthful. So we might have a bit of a half-hearted attempt, or at least not a very well thought out attempt at trying to solve this case. And then we have over here the Hermit on its side. So somebody who kind of wants to come out of hiding but can't for whatever reason. So this person may have a very shaky investigation because the person that they rely on for information doesn't really want to be known, and therefore has a lot of trouble trying to get the information across or to really trust anybody with the stuff that they do know. And particularly this Hermit is somebody who is on the streets, and it looks like they have some type of addictions over there. So this may be somebody who has a really rough patch and does not really want that to be public knowledge, or doesn't want to be on camera, doesn't want their name out there, like that type of thing. So I'm guessing this may be somebody who knew all along what happened to Briana and has gone down a dark spiral as a result of it, and is only now speaking out about it. Oh, that one fell out. Okay. And then we have the Queen of Wands in reverse, and this one is called the Public Defender, and I'm guessing this will be a prosecutor who might then try to figure out who this person is. This may also be whomever it is that they are afraid of. Like, this person may be afraid of being prosecuted themselves because they may be like involved somehow, and that's why they have all this information and a reluctance to make themselves fully known, which makes this a very shaky investigation. But there will probably also be somebody else listening in on this person's investigation to try to figure out who this is so they can actually come after them, which is probably also what is holding them back as well. So I'm thinking we're looking at an investigation that may produce some results, but it's going to be a very tough call, and I think it's going to take a lot to get anything, and potentially also a personal sacrifice on behalf of whomever this Hermit is being represented, or whomever is being represented by the Hermit, not the other way around. Yeah, so that is what I'm seeing for Briana. Hope you found that interesting. Make sure to leave a comment and a like. That really helps the channel along. If you want to subscribe as well, that'd be amazing. We're trying to get to 1500 over here, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.